I cannot impose myself to be the leader of Dr. Besigye, but I can speak with authority that whoever does not believe that I am a leader of the FDC indirectly says they are not members of the FDC. Our colleagues operating at Katonga Road as a pressure group have the option to develop into a fully fledged political organization if they desire. But it's our duty to defend the party. And anyone who attempts to attack us will get a taste of their medicine. Anybody who is interested in dialogue should not set any conditions for dialogue. I have heard our friends saying before they come and dialogue with us, the leadership in Najanankumbi should step aside. What a joke. We are also extremely uncomfortable by certain statements that were made by our founding president. Dr. Besigye can have his own choice of leader, but I dare to say he cannot and will be never allowed to impose any leader on the FDC party. Never. The current leadership has got a term limit. And so if Dr. Besigye is so much dying for Lukwago to become the president of FDC, what he does not even deserve, let them wait for 4.5 years.
Omusumba yena asaba n'agamba bagawukule gagende wa kumuluma 13
era mbyagalira ddala pulezidenti wange
betwasaba bajje batusabire tebakoze eki tebalabise.
Parliament is not a platform for business. It's a place where we talk about issues that concern the common persons.
Kabaka yazala MUP ne basakanya. Kabaka yazala maremta, kabaka yazala pincha.
nze ndowooza nti ekibiina kyetaaga mpu.
Basala kunyonyola
nedda
sente zo zifuna.
Sente nzirinze.
Nzirinze
era kooti eno mbadde ndize first installment.
Abamutuufu okukayana ng'awulidde waliwo emiliyoni 5 ezitategeerekeka.
I had never seen them made into beggars. Senior citizen begging on their soldier.
Abanoonya bonna mbatumiddewo okunsanga mumanyiyo. Oba baagala okunzita ng'oba oyagala kunzitebwa okunsanga omanyiyo.
Omuntu eyalabira ssente mu mmotoka ku woosingiddwe. Bannange ekikulu mukimanyi nno. Naffe okirowooza emyaka nga 10 tekirabanga nako ku akawunti. Nga tekituulangako. N'okyerabira ku woosingiddwe.
Katonda omulungi nsaba ampeere Kyagulanyi addemu afune okubuulirwa okwa Solomon. Ne bw'anaaba tasobodde sirowooza tutamulira kyasobola omuwaayo kyansi.
Gwe fitina nduma.
Tugenda kwekalakaasa paka eza paka kuwuliramu.
We had hoped that Sare Peru would be buried in an organized and peaceful manner. So even as our thoughts and prayers go to the Peru family and the people of Ngora, we feel extremely disappointed that chaos ensued at her funeral. We are concerned about the behavior of our colleagues who have now settled down in Katonga to oppose the FDC party, who attempted to politicize the funeral of our sister Sare Perutino. They transported a group of people from Kampala, Wakiso, from Bunyoro, from Ankole, from Jinja, and Iganga, purportedly to provide security at the function, but ended up humiliating mourners by conducting body searches and turning away individuals wearing shirts with a portrait of the Ngora woman member of parliament, the Honorable Apollo Isodo Stella. They showed no regard whatsoever for the sanctity of the Catholic Holy Mass, which was being conducted at the function. They kept moving around and causing tension among mourners. At that stage, mourners questioned the intention of these individuals at the funeral. Even their purpose, if their purpose was to provide security for Colonel Besigye, it should be noted that Dr. Besigye was not in any danger, and that there was a presence of police to ensure peace and security of all mourners. The action by the vigilantes angered mourners, particularly FDC, grassroots leaders from Teso. Their disruptions attracted the attention of officers in charge of the officer in charge of Cologne police station, who instructed them at least to sit down or leave the area. I must say at this point that Dr. Besigye had all the times he went to Teso been received warmly. And I can attest to this, coming from the region and working with Dr. Besigye for the last 20 years. That at any time in his engagement with the Teso community, he had never come under attack, or his security had never been compromised in any way. The resistance of the group that composed of muscular bouncers, trained kanyamas, towards the security even angered mourners further and our leaders further, causing the proceedings to be halted, with the parish priest, Monsignor Reverend Father John Eriao, concluding prayers with the final prayer before the body was taken to the graveyard. We as the FDC believe that this chaos was instigated by Dr. Besigye, who deliberately undermined the representatives of the people, including the woman member of parliament, Honorable Stella Isodo, and the national leadership of the FDC. We are also extremely uncomfortable by certain statements that were made by our founding president, beginning from the church service at St. Jude, Naguru, where he said that I am not his leader. that his leader is Lukwago. And this is recorded in the media. We can only have one president of the FDC at any one time. The matter of leadership was resolved in the National Delegates Conference that sat at Lugogo on the 6th of October, 2023. I cannot impose myself to be the leader of Dr. Besigye, but I can speak with authority that whoever does not believe that I am a leader of the FDC indirectly says they are not members of the FDC. Dr. Besigye can have his own choice of leader, but I dare to say he cannot and will be never allowed to impose any leader on the FDC party. Never. That one I have to be categorical about, and that the leaders of FDC will always be elected and recognized in a manner as is stated within the Constitution of the Republic, the Constitution of the FDC. As a party, we condemn the unfortunate events of Saturday, the 13th, where the burial of the late Sare Peru was heavily politicized, and yet should have been a solemn occasion to remember and to give the final goodbyes to the Honorable Sare Peru. Some people wanted to take advantage of the situation to gain politically in the region, and we didn't allow this. Disregarding the efforts of the local organizing committee led by the woman MP for Ngora district, the Honorable Apollo Stella Isodo. All the arrangements for the funeral were meticulously planned by this committee, which had worked tirelessly since Sarah passed away last week, only to be disrupted by the Katonga team on the day of the burial. The leadership of the party was also accused of stealing Sarah's body. And we really want to take offense at the way in which our MPs, the Honorable Bwalu, who is here, the Honorable Alobo, and the Honorable Isodo, and our Secretary General, Nathan Mafabi, were accused of the unthinkable. Stealing a body of our sister, a dead body of the niece of Nandala Mafabi, just because our friends in Katonga were so mean to Sare Peru and failed to engage funeral services, that we moved in to engage when the situation was becoming desperate. If they couldn't produce 9.5 million shillings for funeral services, and yet they have money to run around the country politicking, how then can they prove to this nation that they actually treasured the work, the hard work of Sare Peru, and that their association with her was beyond politics? We would like to urge Colonel Dr Besigye to refrain from using force and violence for political gain. You have circulating today where somebody called Jennifer Nalongo Karunji, who was part of the chaos in Ngora, in Koloin, mobilized the overrunning of our office in Masindi and the public banning of posters belonging to the President, the Treasurer General, the Secretary General, and the condemnation of our party chairman, the Honorable Jack Sabit. All this is financed by the Katonga Group. Something that they should extremely be embarrassed about, and something that we will not tolerate as the FDC leadership. We continue to hold Sarah's family, particularly her children, in our prayers and wish that her soul rests in peace. We also promise as an organization to pursue the cause that Sarah pursued and was not able to achieve during the time of her life. Finally, and very quickly, but before that also, to thank our Secretary General, Nanda Mafabi James, Nathan, for being magnanimous in providing medical care to Sarah Peru as she was journeying the path of her sickness.
Since 2015.
And her sickness, she started getting attacks since the year 2015. She had to go through expensive medication that many times had to be procured from overseas, from Britain, America, and the rest of Europe. Would also like to appreciate him for providing for Sarah's upkeep for a long, long time. And so, any sensible person would never accept the narrative that Sarah Peru wasn't helped during her time of need, and that we in the FDC chose to steal her body. And I don't know to take it where, really. This is the greatest insult we have ever received in our 20 years of existence. On the consultations being conducted by our friends in Katonga, I would like to say that the formation in Katonga is not an organ of the FDC. Neither is it an appendage of the FDC. And therefore, in our eyes, whereas Dr. Dr Besigye and his group of adorers are free to run around the country to do whatever they want, they have not been authorized by the organs of the party to conduct business on behalf of the party. And so anybody dealing with them, deal with them at their own risk and probably peril. In recent weeks, we've witnessed our colleagues traveling the country to consult on the following four issues. Number one, the possibility of the formation of a new political party or pressure group. Number two, forming their own pressure group, joining existing pressure groups and all political organizations. Number three, reconciling with the party leadership. And number four, using outright or raw force to take over these premises. The FDC party has no issues with any member leaving FDC to establish a new political party or formation or even inheriting another political organization. The Uganda Constitution guarantees this freedom under Article 29, 1E, which states, and I quote, open quote, "Every person shall have the right to freedom to form and join associations or unions, including trade unions and political and other civic organizations." Close of quote. Additionally, within the FDC, there is freedom of entry and freedom of exit. Our colleagues operating at Katonga Road as a pressure group have the option to develop into a fully fledged political organization if they desire. As we do not coerce anybody to stay in the FDC. They would not be the first group to leave the party to form new ones. We have the vivid example of the Honorable Betty Olive Namisango Kamia Turomwe, a key founding leader who left the FDC and chose to form a new party, the Uganda Federal Alliance, in 2020. We outlived her absence and we continue to march on. Our former party president, Honorable Major General Retired Gregory Mugisha Muntu, together with a host of members of parliament and other leaders who left the FDC to form the Alliance for National Transformation in 2019, will therefore not be worried at all. We will not lose sleep even a single day if Dr. Besigye and his accomplices decided to move out of this organization called FDC in 2024. He was leader of the FDC and voluntarily decided to leave in 2012. He has been passively resisting the leadership in Najanankumbi for 4 years now. But the party has remained true to its mission and vision, and we will continue marching even without him and his group. We would like to say that anybody having the intention to use violence to overrun the leadership in Najanankumbi as a method that now seems to be gaining traction by our colleagues needs to think a second time. We will not tolerate anyone using force to remove legally elected party leaders from the headquarters. If they resort to violence, it will be met by an appropriate response. Violence will not be tolerated by us, and our friends need to know that nobody has a monopoly of violence. This will be addressed decisively. We have been promised and threatened with such attacks many times, such as the Tuja or Tuja. They are free to do what they wish, but it's our duty to defend the party. And anyone who attempts to attack us will get a taste of their medicine. The party welcomes reconciliation, and we want to hail our friends, our chapter in Kasese that has been equivocal on this. We also want to hail the special committee, Elders Committee, led by the Honorable Frank Nabuiso, Professor, the report that was adopted of that committee of the Special National Council sitting on Friday, July 28th, 2023, here at Najanankumbi, that recommended dialogue as a way forward to settle the current impasse. But as we talk about dialogue and as I conclude, anybody who is interested in dialogue should not set any conditions for dialogue. I have heard our friends saying before they come and dialogue with us, the leadership in Najanankumbi should step aside. What a joke. It's a real daydreaming. That won't happen. And if that is what dialogue is going to be premised on, I want to say now that there will be no dialogue with those friends of ours. It won't be there. I say this in peace and place the challenge to them to humble themselves to the authority of the leadership in Najanankumbi. Come to us and dialogue without conditions. And you know, our history tells us that FDC was formed in the absence of Dr. Besigye. It was. I was in reform agenda from the very time it started. Because I was a member of parliament at the time, I belonged to PAFO. We agreed here in country when Dr. Besigye was in exile to join hands with the National Democratic Front of Chapa Karuhanga. And we came to Bonita up a certain hill here and formed the party. And Dr. Besigye's name was proposed in absentia as our leader. And nobody should make a mistake on this. The strength of FDC has never been on account of an individual. And that's why I feel confident that individuals may go, but the party is going to stay. It was on account of the grassroots supporters who formed the building blocks of this party. And so long as we still have those grassroots supporters, which we do, nobody, no matter his political size, is going to cause the collapse of the FDC. The non-existence of FDC may be on account of Mr. Museveni dissolving the FDC for one reason or another, but not on account of our inability as the leaders to drive this party forward. Never. So nobody should go posturing thinking that, because they are not, now in favor of the leadership here, that the FDC is going to collapse. That is a fallacy. It is. Of course, I think we would be much stronger if we were together. There's no doubt about that. And I have addressed this to the founding president, Dr. Besigye, before, and said it doesn't serve anybody any good to go out there to undermine the other person's efforts if we must pull in the same direction. I want to use this press briefing to call on our colleagues to sober up, get out of the anger mode, and come to serve the people of Uganda. The current leadership has got a term limit. And so if Dr. Besigye is so much dying for Lukwago to become the president of FDC, what he does not even deserve, let them wait for 4.5 years. Present Lukwago to compete to become the president of FDC.
Not through ventilators.
We come into the leadership of FDC through the front door, not through the back door, windows or ventilators. And that is how leadership is determined here. So if they made their mistakes, everybody does make their mistakes, they should ask for pardon and come back to the fold. We make these statements not disrespecting anybody or the contribution of anybody towards the growth of our political organization, but we also have got a duty to preserve and conserve this political organization that was built on blood and sweat. As we speak now, tens of our comrades have died for the sake of this organization.
Omusumba ye n'asaba n'agamba bagawugule gagende wakumuluma 13
naye gavumenti yatumukuzanira ku mitwe
era mbyagalira ddala pulezidenti wange
be twasaba bajje batusabire tebakoze eki tebalabise.
Parliament is not a platform for business. It's a place where we talk about issues that concern the common persons.
Kabaka yazala emipi abemipi ne basakanya. Kabaka yazala mara mtaa, kabaka yazala emipi
nze ndowooza nti ekibiina kyetaaga mpuuga.
Basaala kunnyonnyola abafuna bati sente zo wazifuna.
Sente nzirinze.
Onazifuna.
Nzirinze era kooti eno mbadde nize first installment.
Abamutuufu okkaayana ng'awulidde waliwo $5,000,000 ezitategeerekeka.
I had never seen them made into beggars. Senior citizen begging on their soldier.
Abanoonya bonna mbatumidde okunsanga mumanyiyo oba baagala okunzita oba oyagala kunzita okunsanga omanyiyo.
Omuntu eyalabira ssente mu mmotoka ku wosingidde bannanga 100 mukimanyimu nafe okibonereza emyaka nga 10 tekirabangana ku akawunti nga nekituulangako n'okyerabira ku wosingidde.
Katonda omulungi nsaba ampeere Kyagulanyi addemu afune okubuulirwa okwa Solomon. Ne bw'anaaba tasobodde sooza kyasobomuwaayo chansi.
Bwe fitina
tugenda kwekalakasa paka eza paka kululiramu.